Hey guys, welcome back to Heroes of the Storm. Today is patch day. Lieutenant Morales is out, all the new balance changes are in, the new try mode is in, this is all live. So what I'm going to talk about today is Stitches, or more specifically, the new Stitches, and how to play him. I believe that while he's stronger, he's still not very strong. I believe that Johanna and Leoric are still on top, with Muradin and ETC coming in a close second, and then all the other warriors beneath that. I think Stitches could work in a niche pick one way or another. I think he's actually surprisingly strong. I think he's just a lot of fun to play. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go through what I feel are the must-have talents. The definite, yes, you need to take this talent. What are some of the other not so must-have talents, but are off-picks if you have a very specific team lineup. And just go over how to play them. So, firstly, let's go over Stitches' bread and butter, what you'll expect to see and what your team expects from a Stitches, and that is his Q. It's a hook, it's a skill shot, you throw it out, latches onto the first enemy it hits and drags them back to you. Now, your team will expect every single one of these to land. They're not going to, but here's a couple of tips to help you. Number one, aim at the feet. Never aim for the head, don't go for the headshots ever. Always aim for your opponent's feet, aim for their ring. You see a little ring around here. If I toggle on some minions, you'll be able to see Arthur's. You see that, aim for that. Don't aim for the head, don't aim for the weapon, aim for the feet, aim for the ring at the bottom of them. So as you see there, you see a little ring around there, aim for that, and you'll get them most of the time. Unfortunately that time a minion decided to be a hero and get in the way. So that's tip number two, never hook them if they're in a minion wave, just walk up to them and slam. You have a lot of HP and a surprising amount of self-healing, so don't be afraid of taking a couple of hits. When it comes to hooking, don't go for miracle hooks. You used to be able to before the cooldown was 16 seconds. You can't anymore. It's just not worth it in any way to go for miracle hooks. What I mean by miracle hooks, they're often referred to as blind hooks. Basically, if you're sitting like, if I was like here, I have no vision of Arthur's whatsoever, or I think there's someone behind Arthur, so I just can't do that. Even if he's standing in that lane, the chance of me hitting him is so low, it's a miracle. It's a miracle if you get him. So don't go for miracle hooks. The way you want to go for hooks is you want to go up at them, attack them until they run away, and then while you can't catch up with them, take a couple steps backwards, line up the hook, so you can, I still see where he is, line up the hook, and get hit a minion instead. And that's not what you want to do, you want to go after them. But be patient with the hook, only use it to engage when you know you can attack someone, and all that other kind of good stuff. You'll be surprised how ineffective it is if you hook even a DPS, because while you may be able to get a significant amount of burst off on them quickly, the team which you are hooking from, they can just counter engage on the back of it, and you'll be surprised that that engage isn't actually that clean. So my advice would be, only hook someone if you know you can get them, and the best way to do that is to wait for them to run away from you, or wait until they're running in a predictable pattern, and then use it. Only use it to engage when you know you can hook someone. Use slam to damage as many people as possible, and use E when you're low on health, and try and use it on a hero as much as possible, because I'm going to go over that in a second. Which brings us lovely onto the talent build. Now, these have been massively changed, and I'm going to go over every single pick that you possibly could take, and go over why. So, at level 1, the general consensus, which I agree with, is hungry for more. The health you get just means that by the late game, if you've been doing your job right, which I assume you will be, you will have so much health that you will be damn near impossible to deal with, particularly to deal with quickly. This means that Stitches becomes a wall. However, a wall is not that effective if it can just be walked around, which you can do with Stitches. So it's good to take it, but there is other talents that you can take on this tier, particularly Dampen Magic. If someone is just constantly poking you with with ability damage, like a Jaina, or a Kalthas, or even a Falstad or a Vala or something like that, you can take Dampen Magic. It acts as block. Why wouldn't you take it? If you're up against someone who's going to take that much, and there's another tank on your team, or you have double support combo or something like that, if you're not worried that you're going to die super quick or super fast, just take Dampen Magic. That's fine. If you have like 4 or 5 tanks on your team, don't be afraid to take slam damage and go for increased slam. And Chew Your Food can work, but I'm not really a massive fan of it. I think if you want to go for health, you should definitely just go for Hungry for More. So I would go for, in this case, I would go for Hungry for More, because I don't have a healer, and there isn't any specific magic damage coming in, and there's no reason we should be lacking damage. So at level 4, it's fairly easy, this one. You want to make sure that you're with a healer at all times, and then you want to take Amplified Healing. Even if you don't have a healer, it's surprisingly good, because it means that Regen Globes will heal you for 30% more, as will Healing Fountains, and your self-heal will heal for 30% more, which is just really, really nice to have. It gives Stitches an amazing amount of sustain, which is surprisingly useful. Get back here! Blind hook, see? Magic. No, come on, come on. No, 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 don't do this to me. Damn. That's one of the problems with Stitches. He has no CC at all. The only thing he has is his ult, which we'll get onto in a second. So at level 7, you can either take Savour the Flavour, which is quite cool, I think. I actually do quite like it. It means that your regen's incredibly strong. If you just use it on cooldown when you're laning against someone, and whenever you get a chance to use it, make sure you do use it in a team fight or whatever. By the end of the game, you'll be regenning a whole hell of a lot. If you are really lacking CC or slows, take Tenderizer. So it's one of those things again. If you're worried about dying, take Savour the Flavour. If you're not, take Tenderizer. I'm not. Am I worried about dying? Not really, but I would take Savour the Flavour anyway, just because it means I'm much better when I'm out on my own. And at level 10, you can pick either of these two. Now, I'm going to stand up for a second, right? It's going to turn minions off, and I'm going to go over the benefits of both of these abilities, because a lot of people just tend to take one consistently, and I don't think that's good. You need to have a look at how your team works and how the enemy team works to really take full advantage of this. So, what do these abilities do? Putrid Bile adds more damage and a fair amount of CC. It also gives you a somewhat of an escape, but you shouldn't really be using it as an escape. It also has a relatively short cooldown, so it can be used pretty much every team fight. Now, you take this ability when your team has an amazing amount of AoE damage, which is landing. I'm talking like Kel'Thas's and Jaina's, because what that means is that you can then slow the enemies so they're more likely to get hit by the AoE while dealing additional damage to them. However, if you have both of those heroes, you probably don't need any additional damage, and with Jaina particularly, she has a slow already. So you need to be careful of doing this. Basically, take it on heroes that, or when you're playing with heroes that don't suffer from damage, the lack of damage. What they suffer from is a problem keeping enemy heroes in range when they can actually deal damage to them. Heroes like Valor, Falstad, Reyna, people like that, even Kel'Thas to some extent, you can really use this ability to great effect. If you don't have a problem with CC, if you have incredible amounts of slows all over the board, you can take Gorge. But the reason, and I actually prefer Gorge, I think Gorge is significantly better than Putrid Bile, and this is the reason why. Siege's bread and butter is hooking people. He hooks, get them on, and then if you get a Gorge, now it's been buffed so it doesn't slow you, you can just run back to your team and then spit them out, and then you should be able to get a free kill. This isn't so effective against certain heroes, and those are the heroes that have hard escape. Heroes like Muradin, Zeratul, Valor, Falstad, these heroes that when you spit them out, they will just barrel roll or whatever away. They will just get away from you and there's not much you can do about it. It's not that effective against them. However, if you can find a team that doesn't have that much escape, heroes like Nova, and again, talking about Kel'Thas, heroes like Sonya and Tyrael are quite nice. Actually, not Tyrael, yeah, Throw and Go. And Sonya doesn't have that much in the early game. But heroes that are quite easy to kill, quite squishy, who don't have that much escape. Even to the likes of Valor and Falstad, you can do it. You need to hook and then Gorge. But more importantly then, you need to make sure that your team, A, knows that you've got them, so they don't just appear and then they run away, which happens way too often if you're not communicating. And B, is able to blow them up. You actually need to have the damage on the back of it to be able to actually deal significant damage and actually get somewhere with putting them in the isolated position that Gorge is putting them in. So take Gorge if you know that your team can blow them up the instant they get spit out of you, and you're probably not going to be looking for team fights. Again, that comes into a whole other thing if you're looking for team fights or not. If you are looking for team fights and your team worries or has problems keeping enemies in one specific spot, or they're lacking damage, or a combination of the two, Putrid Bile. I'm going to take Gorge because Gorge is just way more fun. As far as anything goes beyond this, you really kind of have to judge it for your team. My personal favourite at level 13, which I'll get to in just a second, is actually one that not a lot of people expect, and apparently it's come to a lot of people like it now recently because of how it is. A lot of people before this patch took Indigestion. I think that's awful. Yeah, I don't think that's very, very good at all. My actual personal favourite one here is Relentless. It means that Stitches has loads of HP and is impossible to stop, and will deal a significant amount of damage, and if you let him and you get isolated, will mean that you cannot escape for love nor money, which is an incredibly strong skill to have, and a lot of people massively underestimate it. At level 16, I have to go with Fishing Hook. Some people take Pulverize. Yeah, okay, fair enough. So at level 16, you kind of have a surprising amount of free reign. You can take Shish Kebab, unless you're hooking people all over the shop, and even then, the fact that you're hooking two people is usually a bad thing because it means that the person you're hooking has backup, and you don't want that at all. So I would say don't take Shish Kebab, but the other three you can really take. Stone Skin if you're still dying, which you shouldn't be, but if you are somehow, take Stone Skin. Pulverize, if your team really lacks slows and or damage, you can take that. But my personal favourite is Fishing Hook. It just means that you can hook so much further. Like, way further. It's ridiculous. And that means that you can just hook people from, like, there. It's just insane. It's great fun. So yeah, Fishing Hook, and then make sure you land those hooks. With Fishing Hook, you can go for more miracle hooks at long range, because by the time you'll get in range to do it, it'll probably be off cooldown again, just because it's so far. But other than that, I probably wouldn't recommend going for miracle hooks anyway. And at level 20, you can go for Bolt of the Storm, which again is great because you can hook, gorge, bolt, and bring them back into anywhere, which is nice and fun. Hardened Shield if you're really having trouble staying alive, and Hungry Stitches if you're just like, you're just going crazy. If you want to just gorge the whole team and then run back in and have them all blow up in one specific spot, you can just take Hungry Stitches and isolate and position them all out where you want them to be. A combo which I want to try out is Hungry Stitches and Mosh Pit. Basically, you have Hungry Stitches go off, and then you have ETC set up Mosh Pit, and then use the slide so it has a longer duration onto Stitches, and then just have everyone spit out into the Mosh Pit. I really want to try it. I think it's great fun. But with Stitches, the couple of things you need to be aware of is use the hooks, land the hooks, use them sparingly. You'll be surprised how useful the threat of a hook will be. Be prepared for people to try and juke it. If they do try and juke it, try and fake them out. You'll be amazed how useful it is. If you walk and then do a back step, you'll be amazed the amount of people that instantly just run sideways. It's great fun. Use Slam to clear waves and only to clear waves unless you're in a team fight. Use Gorge on cooldown. You'll be amazed how Devour. Use Devour on cooldown. You'll be amazed how useful it is. And if you're going to use Gorge, make sure that you're either running away when you use it, to make sure that when they come out, they haven't just been out of the fight and unable to take damage for a few seconds, so make sure you isolate them quite hard, or the rest of the team dies and then it's just them on their own. That works as well sometimes. Don't be afraid to just use it just for fun. Like, if there's someone outside of your base here that's pushing your base, don't be afraid to just run out, gorge them, and then drag them back in. It's a free kill. Don't sniff it. But have fun with him. I still don't think he's probably the strongest, but I think if you get a lot of practice with him, you can win a surprising amount of games. Just by people not really being able to deal with the hooks, you'll do quite well. He's great fun. If you like him, try the other heroes, particularly try ETC. You'll have a lot of fun with him. Yeah, give it a go. If you disagree with this, if you agree with this, let me know. Try it out and let me know how you do in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching. I have been Mr. G, and I will see you next time.